News time is 8 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Friday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 7 o'clock newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. And we stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. The new Animal Control Administrator has completed her first month and reports things are going well. At Thursday night's DeWitt County Public Safety Committee meeting, Grace Moore told the committee her first month has been a stressful experience, but a good one. She recently was hired as the new administrator after the departure of Tony Harris.
Over the last month, up until today, we have facilitated 7 in-house cat adoptions, brought in 3 stray dogs, all that were reclaimed by their owners within 2 days, and then taken in 5 stray cats. 4 dogs, 4 cats have been transferred to different facilities, including Second Chance and Naperville Area Humane Society. We have 1 cat scheduled to go out to TAPS in Pekin on Monday, and then Mr. Hyde, who's a cat with hydrocephalus, is scheduled to go out to a rescue in Champaign. Overall, we've taken in 3 dogs, 5 cats for strays, 2 owner surrenders, 1 euthanasia due to human aggression, 3 dog reclaims, 7 adoptions, and 4 dogs, 4 cats to other shelters.
Moore also let the board know that Animal Control will be looking to purchase new catch poles and a new printer that has faxing capabilities. Committee Chair Megan Myers notes they can work with Second Chance for Pets to fund those purchases.
A concern that we wanted to look into getting new catch poles because we only have 1 current working one, but I think that we can do a little bit of research on finding some that are maybe not as costly. We were also looking at possibly purchasing a new printer, maybe one that has fax capabilities too, because I know a lot of people still use fax intergovernmental. So,
and I think we also still have some donation money that went to Second Chance that if you have projects, we can let them know so we can get funding through them.
Yes.
That was that grant that was given by Constellation.
During the month of January, DeWitt County Animal Control worked with the University of Illinois to host 3 low-cost spay and neuter clinics, which are open to eligible community members and to animals already in the shelter.
During this time, we've also hosted 3 low-cost spay and neuter clinics with the U of I Vet College, which allows eligible community members to get their pets altered, vaccinated, and microchipped for an extremely low fee. And then we are also able to utilize that program for shelter animals for a significantly lower cost than a typical veterinary facility, which is a great benefit for not only us, but everyone involved. With that alone, for January, we did 2 community dogs were altered, 9 cats and 3 dogs from the shelter were altered and vaccinated. And then as far as February goes, so far, 5 community cats and 1 community dog were vaccinated, microchipped, altered, and then we had 5 shelter cats altered and vaccinated. I'm excited, and I hope that those numbers continue to grow. Have another low-cost clinic I think next week, so that those numbers will continue to grow as far as this month goes. And I hope we can make an uptick in in-house adoptions as well over the coming months.
Myers thanked Moore for her work over the past month. Regional Radio and Covenant Animal Clinic in Clinton announced this week they are teaming up to host and begin an Adopt a Pet campaign to help the DeWitt County Animal Shelter find homes for its dogs and cats. DeWittDailyNews.com readers can click the Adopt a Pet icon and be taken to a page sponsored by Covenant Animal Clinic with pictures and descriptions of pets available for adoption. Recruitment is underway for next year's class of CEO students. On the WHOW Morning Show Thursday, Central Illinois CEO facilitator Melanie Brown told Regional Radio they are actively recruiting for next year's class of students.
Looks like
So we started back in January, like January 14th. The students and I went out and visited all of the schools, and they made a pitch to the sophomore and junior classes, letting them know what their experience has been like, why they should sign up for CEO, some of the obstacles that they faced before they said, yes, I want to sign up. Really just helped to educate the students and the staff on it. And then applications opened and they close on February 28th. So what that looks like then is if you are interested in the program, you go to our website and you apply. It's an online application process. You are required to have 2 references as well as a letter of intent. We have also hosted Experience CEO Days, and those are days where students interested, whether they're freshmen, sophomore, or juniors, they can come to class and experience what a day in the life of a CEO student is like. So they're expected, once again, to get themselves there, to dress up, bring a notebook, be on time, ask questions, do the tour with us, meet the business owners, and just really say to themselves, could I see myself doing this every single day of the school year next year?
Yeah. According to Brown, the students, there is a perception the program is for that student who wants to be a business owner when they leave high school. She calls the program for that undecided student and has great examples of that student in her class of 13.
The only thing I would say is because it's called CEO, everyone thinks, oh, I'm not interested in business, I shouldn't apply. And we, as I mentioned earlier, we have students who are pursuing other degrees such as teaching or cosmetology, those types of things. So CEO is for the undecided student. CEO is for the student who's interested in business, and CEO is for the student who says, hey, I all have my credits met. I want to build up my resume, work on my networking, and enhance other skills. The other thing that's cool about this group of students is, we have a student that is headed to Eastern Illinois University to be a teacher, but she wanted to enhance her leadership skills. She wanted to get a better understanding of the business world. And, she even said to one of the board members once, I'm going to be the CEO of my classroom, so this is a good opportunity for me to learn. What does it take to be a CEO? We have another gal who's going into cosmetology school and one day hopes to have her own salon, so she wanted to learn the business side of things. Another cool story is we have a student who entered the class thinking he wanted to be an engineer, a mechanical engineer, and he always says, it looks good on paper and it made my parents happy. That's the route I thought that I wanted to go. Got into CEO, started to see the opportunities in the world of business, and he has changed his degree to finance and pursuing college for that specific degree.
Wow.
So we have a wide variety of students and interests, and that is the cool thing about CEOs, because then you get all of these different entrepreneurial spirits with different interests and backgrounds coming together to make things happen.
The deadline to apply to next year's Central Illinois CEO program is Friday, February 28th. Visit centralillinoisceo.com for more information. And Brown reminds Central Illinois CEO has students from Blue Ridge, Clinton, Maroa Forsyth, and Warrensburg Latham. After a mild winter weather event on Wednesday, cold temperatures returned to the region. Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln indicates we could see some light snow tonight. Otherwise, plan on cold temperatures returning this weekend into next week.
It looks like on the outlooks for the 6 to 10, 8 to 14, we're looking at below normal temperatures. So once this snow comes in, it's going to be actually another little bit of snow, maybe even some rain on Friday, Saturday morning. And then we're going to stay cool. We'll be below normal all the way through. It looks like 21st to 24th of the month is pretty solidly below normal in the outlooks. So precipitation wise, we're looking at right around normal. So, we're going to get a couple of those wintry precip events in there as well. Maybe a little tip to the balance toward rain. It looks like a couple of days are going to warm up enough for rain. So that's going to mess things up a little bit too. Overall temps below normal for most of the rest of February. Even the 3 to 4 week outlook, which takes us into early March, has us below normal temperature trends there. So it's going to be kind of a, teetering slightly below the normal, which we usually are in the upper 30s to low 40s about this time of year. So, not too bad really. We're not seeing any major cold snaps, bitterly cold. May have some wind chills in the single digits on, a day or two, but really I'm not seeing anything that's going to be impactfully cold out of that next 3-4 weeks.
Shimon indicates while we start to see an increase in daylight during February, you have to wait until March to see a significant jump in the average or the daily temperature from the start of the month to the finish.
Yeah, March has got a little bit bigger jump. We gain about 9 degrees. 36 is the average high at the beginning of February. 45 is the average high at the end. It's only about 9 degrees there because the sun angle is not quite creeping up high enough. We are gaining about an hour of time, daylight, from the beginning to the end of the month. Just not enough of that sun angle yet, because that makes the biggest difference is how high that sun creeps into the sky and a little bit more of that energy getting to the ground in our part of the country.
Next week on Regional Radio, Shimon recently broke down January and all its weather data, and we'll have more with him on that again next week. Volunteerism is an essential part of any nonprofit, and a Decatur entity has ongoing learning opportunities taking place now through March. Heather Perdue, executive director of the Scovill Zoo in Decatur, explains they've begun their adult volunteer classes. These are intended to educate volunteers on the animals at the zoo and prepare them for any questions a visitor may have.
We have started our adult volunteer classes, and we had our first one this week, and they are every Wednesday from 9 to 12. And those will run, I think they're 8 weeks. And so usually about mid-April, they're finishing up. But anyone who's ever been interested in volunteering at the zoo, adults volunteering at the zoo, are welcome to come to these classes. And we encourage these classes. Even if you want to maybe come out and help drive the train for us, you do get asked a lot of questions. You're out there in the zoo, people ask you animal questions. So we still feel like it's important for you to learn the basics with the animal, ecology and the ecosystems and conservation.
The zoo is always looking for new volunteers, and Purdue notes even if you miss the first meeting, it's never too late to sign up. Attending classes is also not a requirement, but it is recommended.
You're welcome to still come out. I mean, we would take new volunteers, and we would love for people to be able to come to the classes, but even if you couldn't come to the classes, you're welcome to contact the zoo at 217-421-7435. And Lizzie Van who's been here before, she is our adult volunteer coordinator, and she'd be happy to talk with you and tell you about the opportunities that we have to volunteer. It's not necessary, but it's something that we encourage. So,
Gotcha.
And it's kind of a good way too that you could kind of meet Lizzie and meet some of the other volunteers.
Okay.
This last week, I know we had, I think she said 22 people that were there for the class. So
Gotcha.
it's kind of a way for just networking and, just to kind of get familiar with other volunteers and the zoo itself. We do ask, especially, so there's different, like I said, opportunities. We have people that run our carousel, our train. People with the animals, we don't really have them necessarily taking care of the animals because that's what we have the keepers for, but we may have them, they do a lot of our mobile zoo programs where they go out to, schools or retirement homes and, present the animals and do a presentation. For those volunteers, we do ask, I don't know the minimum number, but we do ask for a minimum number of hours each month just so they retain that handling knowledge.
Purdue notes many of their volunteers are former teachers and educators, but they also get people from all walks of life. The only requirement to volunteer at the zoo is a love for animals and interacting with the public.
We have had some retired teachers that have came through. Yeah, they seem to be from all different, some people from corporate, and they love interacting with the public. And I think that's probably one of the most, maybe you don't want to handle the animals. And again, you can run the carousel. And again, we just love for you to have that basic knowledge. But obviously, interacting with the public is something that is very important to being an adult volunteer at the zoo because there is a lot of that.
Sure.
And so, but people love, engaging, especially with children on, the carousel and the train and just talking with people. And we loved to have, we're always in need of adult volunteers to help us out. I'm trying to think, we had a volunteer appreciation dinner in January, and I'm trying to remember, I think we have, like 50 or so pretty active volunteers. Some obviously are able to commit more hours than others, but we did have a few volunteers that were able to volunteer hundreds of hours during a year. And if you think about, us having our volunteers come out to run the train or the carousel especially, we don't need staff to do that, and it saves us money, our operating budget. So we do rely on those volunteers a lot, just so we don't have to pull staff to do that.
The adult volunteer classes are Wednesdays from 9 to noon. Learn more at decatur-parks.org/Scovilles-zoo or reach out to their volunteer coordinator at 217-421-7435. News time is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Friday. More to come on The Morning Show.
It's time to celebrate winter. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Yes, we have extra savings on all new Chevrolets this month to celebrate the winter season. See our inventory of Chevrolet Trailblazers, Blazers, and the all-new Chevy Trax. We also have a larger, redesigned 7-passenger Traverse and a good selection of 24 and 25 Tahoes. See our winter celebration savings at bombchevybuick.com right from the start.
News time is 23 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Friday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. Registration is now open for next month's Women in Ag Conference in Rock Island. The keynote speaker is cancer survivor Brooke Taylor of Oklahoma with the Rural Gone Urban Foundation, which provides small business grants and scholarships to women and love bombs to cancer survivors.
It's one of the most underreported scams.
So I spent the first, portion of my career working in advertising agencies in the food and agriculture sector, working behind brands and being the person behind the curtain, helping other people tell their stories. And I am so excited to ride for my own brand and to tell my own story and connect with these incredible women to showcase that, listen, you don't have to get a cancer diagnosis to have an incredible, amazing life. And, to quote the Tim McGraw song, you don't have to live like you're dying only when you get a cancer diagnosis. And I know from speaking in a lot of places across the country what a really incredible event looks like. And I know that this event, start to finish, the communication I've had with the planning committees and the team, this is going to be an amazing, incredible event. And I'm so excited to be there.
The Women in Ag Conference is March 28th. Get more info at womeninaagricultureconference.com. With more than 400 rural hospitals nationwide and a risk of closing their doors, Illinois senior senator introduced legislation to keep them open. Partnering with Republican Senator James Langford, the bipartisan bill supports those most vulnerable, says Dick Durbin.
I can tell you that we have a lot of hospitals that are just hanging on by a thread. Some of them are in the inner city, but a lot of them are downstate in rural areas. I visited these hospitals. I've tried to help them over the years. They are absolutely critical to the economy, number one, and to people who need emergency medical care, for example. And I'm worried because if we go into what I think is the next phase here, of reducing Medicaid and Medicare reimbursement to these hospitals, some of them will not survive. That's going to hurt our state, and I'm trying to help.
Durbin's bipartisan bill, the Rural Hospital Closure Relief Act, would support hospitals by allowing them to obtain CAH designation, which would give the hospitals a higher Medicare rate, allowing them to maintain their bottom lines. Illinois Department of Agriculture, Jerry Costello, made an announcement this week. The state continues to monitor for the avian flu.
It's one of the most underreported scams.
We're here to announce a 30-day suspension on exhibition or sales of poultry in the state of Illinois. So this would apply to swap meets, exhibitions, flea markets, as well as auction markets. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is make sure that we're mitigating exposure to bird flu. As we've talked about in the past, at the Department of Agriculture in the state of Illinois, what we're concerned about is making scientific decisions. We don't want to make emotional decisions, so we work very closely with the state vet, the assistant state veterinarian in making these decisions, as well as the Department of Public Health state veterinarian. So we have Dr. Ernst here at the Department of Ag state vet, Dr. Stacy Slager, who's our assistant state vet, and then Dr. Austin at Public Health. They've all come together and determined that this is the best course of action to take. So I think it's important to know that, number one, there are no human cases of bird flu in the state of Illinois. We have not had a detection in dairy cattle in the state of Illinois. So those are two things that are extremely important to know. No human cases, no cases that are positive for dairy cattle in the state of Illinois. And the last thing is that biosecurity aspect for producers. Make sure that, in any way, shape, or form, you're trying to keep wild birds from commingling with your animals, especially when it comes to feed or water sources.
Poultry flock owners, managers, and veterinarians should report any unusual findings in domestic poultry, such as an increase in mortality, decrease in water consumption, decrease in egg production, or respiratory signs, including cough and sneezing, immediately to the Department of Ag at 217-782-4944 or the U.S. Department of Agriculture at 866-536-7593. Time now for a look at this morning's obituaries. 63-year-old Julianne McKee of Mount Zion passed away February 5th at her family residence. Services for 63-year-old Julianne McKee will be Saturday and tomorrow at the Calvert Funeral Home in Maroa with Scott Marsh officiating. Burial will follow at Maroa Cemetery in Maroa. The visitation is 10 to 11 tomorrow at the funeral home. Memorials can be made to the American Diabetes Association. 76-year-old Mark A. Smith of Argenta passed away February 5th in his home. A celebration of life for 76-year-old Mark A. Smith will be from 5 to 7 Monday at the Calvert Funeral Home in Argenta. Online condolences can be made to calvertmemorial.com. 96-year-old Shirley V. Oakes of Maroa passed away February 8th. Services for 96-year-old Shirley V. Oakes are this morning at 11 a.m. at Calvert Funeral Home in Maroa with the Reverend Mary Alice Cunningham officiating. Burial will follow at Maroa Cemetery in Maroa. The visitation is from 10 to 11 at the funeral home. Memorials can be directed to the Maroa United Methodist Church or the Larry Peasley Memorial Scholarship in care of the Maroa Fire Department. Coverage of news today is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and we stream to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Coming up in sports on this Friday, a recap of the regular season finale for the Clinton High School girls. That's next.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. An ongoing risk of rock and mudslides in Southern California, where torrential rains have unleashed debris flows in areas where earlier wildfires left the hillsides barren. It's not rain, but snow and ice, resulting in highway havoc in the Pacific Northwest. Some big vehicle pileups in Oregon and Washington, leaving at least 10 people injured. Federal worker layoffs have begun as President Trump strives to right-size government. Apparently, most American voters think that Elon Musk is the right man to lead Mr. Trump's effort to cut the fat, that according to a new Rasmussen poll. New York Mayor Eric Adams says federal immigration officers will once again be allowed to operate in the city's Rikers Island lockup with a focus on violent criminals and gang activity. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures down 91 points, NASDAQ futures off 28. More details at srnnews.com.
Addressmovie.com.
With SRN Sports, I'm George Williams. The NBA has completed the first half of its regular season last night. There were 5 games. 2 went to overtime. In one, the Pelicans beat the Kings 140-133. In the other, it was the Clippers over the Jazz 120-116. The other 3, the Warriors beat the Rockets, Mavericks over the Heat, and the Timberwolves beat the Thunder. The NBA is adopting a round-robin style for its All-Star game, similar to the NHL. Last year's game had a score of 211 for the East to 186 for the West. NBA brass wants to see just a smidge more defense and a bit more competitiveness in the event. NCAA Top 25 basketball, 14th ranked Memphis over South Florida, number 25 Maryland over Nebraska in the 2 games among ranked teams. And on the women's side, 6th ranked USC upset top ranked UCLA 71-60. This is SRN Sports. And NHL would be playing its All-Star game, but they've adopted a different kind of round robin, a 4 nations face-off in lieu of the All-Star game. Last night, Team USA defeated Team Finland 6-1. On Wednesday night, in overtime, was Canada over Sweden. So they'll play the second round tomorrow, Saturday, Finland against Sweden, USA against Canada. And then the third round will be Monday, and then they'll play the final with a consolation and championship game next Thursday. And then today in Philadelphia, the football fans get to toast their Super Bowl champion Eagles, taking home their second franchise Lombardi trophy in their convincing win over the Kansas City Chiefs last week. Meanwhile, a Super Bowl winning quarterback won't be returning to the New York Jets, the team parting way with veteran quarterback Aaron Rodgers. NASCAR runs on Sunday, the Daytona 500 beginning its new season. 4-time Indy 500 winner Helio Castroneves in the race, Chase Briscoe on the pole. This is it.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Lucy Corley scored 30 points and led Decatur St. Teresa over Clinton 62-53 in the regular season finale of non-conference high school girls basketball action Thursday night in Clinton. Corley's big game helped St. T withstand a third-quarter rally by the Lady Maroons, who got within 43-39 at the end of the third quarter. Carly Anderson led Clinton with 17 points, and Clara Dempsey chipped in with 13 points. Clinton finishes the regular season 24-7 overall. It's off to the postseason now for the Lady Maroons, who host Normal U-High in regional quarterfinal action Saturday at Clinton High School. Hear the action starting at 2 p.m. on the big 1520 AM, 92.3 FM, and 106.5 FM WHOW, and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Illinois begins the 2025 baseball season this weekend with a 3-game series against Abilene Christian at Whataburger Field in Corpus Christi, Texas. This season, Illinois returns 17 from its 2024 Big Ten Championship squad and welcomes 18 newcomers. 13 of the 18 are transfers and 5 freshmen. During the 2024 campaign, Illinois launched 104 home runs, setting a new program record and shattering the previous of 91 from the 1998 season. Illinois' 104 homers were the most among Big Ten teams, slugging 21 more than second-place Indiana. It also ranks 28th nationally and 9th among teams that played fewer than 60 games. A trio of Illinois baseball players were selected preseason players to watch. The conference announced yesterday right-hander Ben Plumlee, along with catcher Jacob Schrader and first baseman Drake Westcott, all were named to the list. Plumlee comes off a breakout 2024 season where he amassed 33 strikeouts in 35 1/3 innings of work in 23 relief appearances. He had a season-long 6-game span of 8 1/3 innings without allowing an earned run, which spanned from May 10th to June 1st, and struck out 8 batters to just 3 walks. Schrader, the 2024 College Baseball Foundation All-American second-teamer and All-Big Ten first-teamer, slashed a batting average of .306 with a .434 on base and .613 slugging to go along with 7 doubles, 14 home runs, and 41 RBIs. He ranked 9th in the Big Ten in homers and ranked among conference leaders in slugging and OPS. Westcott, meanwhile, slugged a .571 with 16 homers, 11 doubles, and 52 RBIs. He ranked among the conference leaders in walks and home runs and enters the season with 34 career home runs in the orange and blue, 14 away from matching Scott Spezio's team record of 48. Illinois returns 54.8% of its home run production from 2025. Illinois sends Tyler Schmidt to the mound tonight, and Ben Plumlee and Julius Sanchez follow in the Saturday and Sunday matchups. Illinois State baseball opens the 2025 spring season today with the first installment of a 4-game series against Western Kentucky out of Conference USA. ISU enters the season after a 30-27 2024 campaign. It was their 16th 30-win season in program history and first since 2019. ISU returns 20 players from the 2024 team, including 12 pitchers who pitched over 80 innings a year ago. The Redbirds welcome 8 freshmen and 10 transfers to Normal. First baseman Judah Morris, middle infielder Shea Robinson, left fielder Daniel Pasella, and catcher Daniel Contreras highlight the returning hitters with significant experience from last year. 12 pitchers who saw action on the mound in 2024 are also back, frontlined by right-hander Tanner Perry, right-hander Joe Husak, and right-hander Carter Monk. 2025 Missouri Valley Conference Championships take place at Duffy Bass Field in Normal. The 8-team tournament opens Tuesday, May 20th, and is scheduled to run through Saturday, May 24th. It is the first time ISU will host the Valley Championships since 2019. The Great American Race opens the 2025 NASCAR Cup season Sunday in Daytona Beach, Florida. Joey Logano captured his third title, earning his place as the 10th driver in Cup history to claim 3 or more championships when he won the season finale in Phoenix last year. After an 18th position start, William Byron secured his first Daytona 500 win, narrowly avoiding a 2-car collision on the last lap of the race that ended under caution. Chase Briscoe, now with Joe Gibbs Racing in the number 19 Toyota, secured the pole position Wednesday night. Austin Cindric in a Penske Ford joins him on the front row. In a Junior Motorsports Chevy, Riverton native Justin Allgaier will run his first Daytona 500 after qualifying on Friday. More practice takes place this afternoon and tomorrow. Race time for the Great American Race is Sunday at 1:30. Get sports anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.